The decision in front of Nigeria to stave off a crisis boils down to two choices. One is a complete revolution, and I'm talking about a revolution against the cabal, against the establishment, senators, governors, and private partners who have inherited Nigeria's promise. The entire group of them. It's either Nigeria has a revolution in which the entire collective is kicked out with a declaration for them to relinquish all their assets, all their land, all their businesses, and leave Nigeria on self-exile. And this includes the National Assembly. This includes all the cabal, north, south, east, west, who have been partakers directly and indirectly in looting Nigeria's promise. These are the people the youth are against. These are the people that are behind the current wave of discontent, frustration, and ethnic fractionation and anger in Nigeria. So it's either a complete revolution gets rid of the entire establishment, Nigeria PLC and all its partners, or the second choice Nigeria has to make, and make urgently, is the restoration of true federalism, dividing Nigeria into regions, and then these regions can decide how they deal with their cabal within their territory and how they restore hope and opportunity. The message people like Nnamdi Kanu are selling is quite straightforward. Nigeria's promise has been looted. The people are suffering. There is no tap water. Tap water we still don't have. Refineries do not work. Each government comes and says they want to sell the refineries. Why do they want to sell the refineries? Because the cabal want to buy them. As simple as that. Nothing works in Nigeria. And the reason why nothing works is because certain people hold on to all the promise. They hold on to all the endowment of the country. And these people, because they ride in bulletproof vehicles and fly in private jets, they do not care about the level of road infrastructure. They do not care about police security. So these people continue to hold the promise of Nigeria. And this is all Mohammed Yusuf sold. This is all Nnamdi Kanu has to sell. This is all he is selling. And he is a hero in the South right now due to the promise of emancipation of at least his sector of the country from these jackals, from the vulture cabal, from Nigeria PLC. And the agitation of the youth is not going anywhere.
As a free people, we can afford to make life better for our people. Nigeria is not a civilized country. People behave like animals. They are not reasonable enough. They are not disciplined enough. They are not mentally developed enough to run a transparent civil society. For them, they have a feudal mindset where you have the ruling class and, a multitude of poverty-stricken people who never utters any word in rebellion or to even ask questions about their plight. That is one thing we are determined to challenge. Didn't you go through the roads and see how horrible they are? Didn't you see how unkept everywhere is? How filthy and dirty everywhere is? That is the product of a Nigerian system that is uniquely backwards, even by the very third world standards of Black Africa. That's the fact, and people must face up to it. How come you hear about all those uprisings in the north where southern Christians are being slaughtered and nothing gets done about it? Are you telling me that that is normal? People are in the north out of a dire need, necessity more or less, to try and survive. Because here, the entire production process has been emasculated by people and policies that are geared towards ensuring that our people exist in perpetual state of poverty, and that is unacceptable to us. What we're asking the world to recognize is that we want to live in peace, not in pieces.
And this is a similar desire shared by Ojukwu and my very self. There is no reason for us to continue to carry last.
The first few years of independence were not too bad, but there were a lot of unfulfilled ambitions of the Nigerians, because In those days, we thought that once you got independence, you were free and everything worked, and you joined the higher league of nations internationally discussing what went on. In fact, to Nigerians it looked as though, and indeed they tended to show, that independence in itself was the achievement. Now Nigeria was free, as we're a member of the world. Instead of looking upon it as the beginning of our journey to nationhood.
The youth are suffering. The youth are frustrated. There is no promise for the youth. The youth are not involved in government, and corruption continues to permeate all arms of government till date. Several months after, Babachir grass cutter is being covered by the Nigerian government. That's the Buhari Osinbajo government. 43 million stash in Ikoyi is being covered by the Nigerian government. And this is the same government that massacres the youth when they protest on the streets of Kaduna or protest in Onitsha. I'm talking about kills them. They are no longer alive. No apology. They've been secretly buried, as we see in media reports in Zaria. The youth have been secretly buried, as we see in reports in Onitsha. This is what they do to the youth who protest their agitations. But when you have corrupt cabal, the protected cabal who this revolution is all about, is a war against these cabal. When these cabal loot the promise, when they loot from IDPs, victims of Boko Haram, when they loot millions of dollars meant for Nigeria's future, when they loot millions of dollars meant for Nigeria's upkeep, this government shields them. Months and years later, Halliburton scandal, Atiku Abubakar shielded. Halliburton scandal, Obasanjo shielded. This is the crux of the problem. And this is what Nigerian youth have decided they shall have no more of. The cabal are afraid. They see it coming. Babangida has called for restoration of regionalism. All groups, politicians are beginning to join us in calling for it, because that is one of the only options Nigeria has on the table. It's two options, and it's time people think about these options and choose which one favors them more. Either the entire establishment of corrupt politicians and cabal relinquish everything they have amassed and set out of Nigeria on self-exile, or true federalism is restored. And the premier of each region can decide how they want to advance their region and how they want to tolerate their cabal within each region, and the regions can compete with each other towards progress and fulfillment of the promise that a nation should guarantee its citizens. It's time we make a choice. If we do not make a choice, the final option might not be so tasty. This is Dr. Perry Brimah. Follow the revolution. Join me on advancednigerian.com. Follow me on Twitter @EveryNigerian.